Mirabai, I had a very unique experience. I think all the kids that got to go to the Living Wisdom schools were lucky. We got to experience alternative education at its best. But I got to be Dad's guinea pig at home, too. When I was a baby, Mom told me that when I pointed to a toy, he never just gave it to me. He always put it slightly beyond my finger so that I would have to reach for it. We moved to Portland, and I started first grade a year later than my friends back in California. When we moved back, I wanted to skip third grade so that I could be with them. Dad patiently sat with me through my multiplication tables and supported me in exerting my will to achieve what I hoped was possible. Math was hard, but a determined little girl learned again firsthand what willpower could give her. I went to UC Santa Cruz, fell in love with astronomy, who would have thought, and graduated 4 years later with my degree. Even though it meant taking a lot more math than I ever thought existed, I loved it. By the end of school, I realized something. Although I loved finding out about black holes, how light works, and why the sky is blue, I could never spend my career looking through a telescope. The nighttime hours would interfere with my social dancing. So I moved to Buenos Aires to study Spanish and Argentine tango. I had no idea what I was doing, really, but that was something that my EFL teachers had taught me too. Don't be afraid of the unknown. Public schools are much more conventional. They focus on already pre-discovered tracks. Do you want to be a doctor, a manager, an accountant? Because of the focus on individuality in school here, each of us was able to find confidence in our own dreams. We were taught that our ideas had value. We were taught that the pursuit of those ideas, while challenging at times, gave lasting satisfaction. We were also taught to listen to the little voice inside, that tiny inner pull that tells you when you're on track and when you need to bail out. Intuition was never mentioned in public school. So, on to Argentina. I auditioned for one of Argentina's major directors, Pepito Cibrián. He was very rich and very famous. He was using us to get a reality TV series without paying us by calling it an audition. There were about 50 of us that made it into that phase. What we didn't know was that they were intending on keeping us in the audition phase for weeks, with no compensation other than the hope that we were going to be chosen. I asked one of the stagehands about it, and he said he would ask the boss. Now, Pepe was about the most nightmarish director possible, you can imagine. He taught by humiliating people in front of the cameras and their peers, a tactic never even heard of in EFL schools. When the stagehand asked Pepe about the money, he sat us down on the floor and went on a tirade for close to an hour. How could we talk about money when we were supposedly lovers of the art? How superficial was our love of theater that we could be so materialistic? He said he didn't want to know who asked the question, but that we should all think long and hard. How deep was our love? Afterward, I took him aside and told him it was me, and he said, "Oy, amor, it's just a cultural misunderstanding, don't worry." Talking about it now, it seems that the decision to leave should have been simple. Hindsight's always 20/20. But in that moment, in that scene of utmost manipulation, it felt like I was putting an end to my fledgling career. When I told him I was leaving, I instantly fell from favor, and he screamed at me to get out. He never wanted to see me again. There I was, halfway around the world, wondering what to do with my life, where to go. And from that silence, the answer came. Go dancing. I did. I danced, and I decided I had had enough of auditions. I didn't want to be discovered anymore. I decided to discover myself. I found a partner, and we found a plaza, and we started dancing for the tourists who arrived in Buenos Aires. After 5 years in Argentina, I moved back to California, and now I live full-time dancing and teaching tango. I think I learned of this inner strength at school. I heard my teachers talking about it. My fellow students and I were encouraged to listen to our higher selves and always answer life's questions from that space of inner silence, to create opportunities where there didn't seem like there were any, to water them with patience, creativity, and passion, helping them grow into bigger dreams, dreams that could shape my life into something that brings me joy every day. I don't think I could have hoped for a better education than the EFL schools. I feel lucky to have so many role models of people here in the community who are willing to follow their highest dharma. Now, I'm looking back at all that math that I studied, calculus and whatnot, and I love it. My challenge with math taught me that I could believe in myself enough to do anything. Even turn away from a director as strong-willed as Pepe and create something out of nothing. The something I created is a life that's just exactly me. It seems that I ended up being much like a dance teacher of mine who once said that he uses math every day. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8.